Okay, so if I look distracted while I'm watching this, if you see my eyes go up more often than normal, and I know I don't always stare at the camera when I'm recording these things, it's because I'm watching the Home Run Derby. I'm currently watching Brett Rooker just destroy this thing right now. And just like the Home Run Derby, the MLB draft has a new format in that, it's not different as players are still getting selected, but in terms of what we did over days. So rounds 1 through 3. And I had no idea that rounds 4 through 20 were today. I thought it was 4 through 10 and then 11 through 20. I'm glad it's all over one day, if I'm just being honest with you. I don't have information on every single pick the Seattle Mariners made today, but I know about quite a few. And I talked to some folks about some of the other guys. So I will do my best to recap the draft as much as possible. So, with their first pick of the day in round 4, they take Mason Peters, a left-hander out of Dallas Baptist University. Mostly worked in relief, 58 strikeouts and 42 and a third innings. I think he's ultimately going to be a reliever. I won't be shocked if Seattle gives him a chance to start. And by the way, if they've already had a press conference announcing a bunch of this stuff, I missed it. So just go with it. Just go with it. But I think Mason Peters has a chance to be a really good reliever. 97 miles per hour with his fastball, a ton of spin on I would call it a slurve. It's somewhere between a slider and a curveball, but a ton of depth on the pitch. Both of those pitches can be out pitches, and he's going to be really tough on left-handed batters. So it's not the sexiest profile, but I could see him being a fairly fast mover. I also could see Seattle giving him a chance to start, seeing if a third pitch can develop. More than likely, we're talking about a fast track guy as a reliever here, but you could see it go the other way. The next pick is my favorite, and it's one of my favorite picks they had in the entire draft. Corbin Dickerson, an outfielder out of Indiana, who the knock on him is that when he faced the better pitchers in the Big Ten, he really struggled. But he is an extremely intriguing athlete. He's a plus runner. He should be a solid center fielder. I think he has the tools to hit for both average and power. The approach has to get better, and there is a lot of swing and miss in this profile right now. But putting up those numbers in the Big Ten, cold weather places a lot of them as well. That's something you have to keep in mind. That's pretty impressive. Now, hot as it gets deeper, of course, but those are good numbers. A guy who transferred from Louisville, he was kind of an intriguing prospect entering his high school year. Didn't do much over those first couple of seasons, but put together a really solid season for Indiana this year. I thought he was a third-round talent. To get him a couple rounds later is pretty darn solid. Lucas Kelly, the reliever out of Arizona State. The numbers aren't great, but you can understand why Seattle would be in love with this type of profile. He throws 99 miles per hour. He has an arm slot that is going to give right-handed fitters absolute hits. Right-handed hitters absolute fits. That's really funny. Right-handed fitters absolute hits. He's going to be death on right-handers. Can he get left-handers out, and can he throw enough strikes to be a high leverage guy? That's obviously a question mark. Otherwise, he's not there at 182, right? And he's purely relief. Purely relief. But there's a chance he's 70 fastball and 55 slider on the 2080 scouting scale. That's pretty good value in the 6th round. 7th round, they take someone with the boorish manners of a Yaley, Colton Shaw, who went to Yale. Good joke. He is the type of profile they've done really well with. The stuff isn't great. The command's pretty good. But this is the type of player they've gotten more out of than you expect. He's a senior who put up pretty good numbers pitching in the Ivy League. Has a below-average fastball, a solid change, a fringy slider. Seattle's developed these guys into things that they're better than. Things that they're better than. They've done a really good job with this type of profile. So I'm intrigued by him. You can say the same thing for their next pick, whose name is difficult for me to pronounce. I believe it's Macchiarola, Macchiarola. Um, Another guy, Holy Cross this time. So another Northeast guy. The Mariners love their Northeast guys. Um, Similar profile, actually throws, I think, a little bit softer than Shaw does, but a solid slider. Performed well, led his team to a regional. The back end starter profile, probably just organizational depth. Same thing for Shaw, same thing for Kelly. And honestly, you could say that for pretty much every pick anyone makes. But there's a floor here. There's a floor that I could see it being a multi-inning reliever. I'm intrigued. Okay. These next two guys I think are the most interesting. Well, there's one guy who's really interesting, but I don't think he's entering the Seattle system. Before we talk about them, real quick, thank you, Simply Seattle, the very best in Seattle sports gear. Use code MOLLYWOP15 to save 15% off your order for stuff for the Kraken, the Sounders, the Seahawks, Huskies, Cougars, and of course, Mariners. MOLLYWHOP15. Really appreciate Simply Seattle. Okay, their 9th round pick is Jackson Steinsma. So, Jackson Steinsma is a player who did not play at all this year. He was recovering from Tommy John surgery. But when he was on the mound, he's a 6'4" right-hander who's touching 96 miles per hour with his fastball. I think there could be more velocity to unlock there. Like, the build isn't really something that's going to mature, but I could just see him being more of a 98, 99 guy, especially if you're using him in short relief. But Mariners will, I think, give him a chance to start. Solid slider, the makings of a decent little change, throws a good amount of strikes. There's some upside here. This guy would have gone way before the 9th round if it wasn't for the health, right? If he was a guy who was showing the same stuff he showed as a sophomore, he's going well before round 9. Okay. Round 10 is a really interesting one. Isaac Lyon. And I had not heard of Lyon before. I'm not going to go out of my comfort zone and make up a whole bunch of crap. But I talked to a bunch of area guys who got a chance to see this guy play, and they really like him. Number one, his arm delivery is so funky. It's borderline sidearm. He'll touch 95 miles per hour with his fastball. He has an effective slider. It's a little harder than you might expect from somebody who's coming from that arm angle. I think you might expect more sweeper. It's probably closer to sweeper than slider, but it's not as frisbee that is as you might expect from somebody coming from that arm slot. Has a good feel for his change, throws things for strikes. After talking to some folks, I'm surprised he was around this long, and I'm guessing the arm slot had something to do with it. Pretty good chance left-handers might mash on this guy, but you can give him a chance to start because of the arsenal and then see if that stuff plays up in relief. That's a really nice value pick in round 10. Okay, let's talk about some of the guys that I was able to get information on for these next picks. And a few of them I just had information on as well. They went to the Dallas Baptist route again with Grant J. And I've got some notes here, so I'm going to pull that up real quick. So the calling card with Jay is the power. He has hit a lot of home runs. I believe he's the all-time leader in home runs for Dallas Baptist, who, again, they made another pick from Dallas Baptist today. Plus power, easy plus power. Really good throwing arm. Serious concerns about the hit tool. He sells out. He really likes to swing for them ding-dongs. And let's be mature after what I just said. He is the type of guy who you're probably not going to get a high average from. However, he's also not a great defender behind the plate. I know you were expecting something positive, but here is the positive. He's a decent enough athlete that I think he could probably play in the outfield. Maybe you give him a chance to catch, and if not, then he's a pretty solid bet for corner outfield. And I think his arm plays well there. And I think the power plays well there as well. I was really surprised after talking again to some folks. Again, wasn't super familiar with Jay. I know he had a lot of homers, but a type of guy who I think could be a really strong value for that late in the draft. Was not the last catcher that they drafted. They also took Luke Haymon, a guy who has been around for a while. It seems like I've heard Luke Hayman's name for many years as a guy who watches a lot of college baseball. He is much more likely to catch than our good friend that we just talked about, right? Like, that's going to be probably his calling card, is that he's a pretty solid defender, but does have some power. 29 homers in 2024 and 2025. Solid defensive skills, strong ish arm. Um, the backup profile for a catcher, the backup backstop. 14th round, you will absolutely take that. Man, they sure hit baseballs far. I'm so distracted by this home run derby while I'm trying to do this. Okay, couple more for you. Griffin Stieg. This is another guy that I got to pull up some notes for. So the Mariners have been willing to take risks on profiles like this. We just talked about Steinsma, that he underwent Tommy John surgery. Same thing for Stieg. He was a guy who looked like he was on the rise and then unfortunately undergoes Tommy John surgery. He's 6'4". His fastball can get up to 97 miles per hour. He has a solid change. He has a slider that's a little inconsistent, but when it's on, it can be an above average pitch. He throws everything for strikes. We just need to see how he responds, right? The same thing for Steinsma. But getting that in the 19th round. Now, here's the 18th round, excuse me. We'll talk about the 19th round pick in a second. Chance that he goes back to school, right? And says, if I'm healthy, I can make a heck of a lot more money. But this is the type of risk you can afford to take because you're going to sign the overwhelming majority of your players. The one guy I'm almost positive that they're not going to sign is their 19th round pick. The name of that young man is, I'm so distracted. They're hitting the baseball so far. Junior Caminero, you are just a beast. Cameron Appenzeller. He's a left-handed pitcher out of Illinois, an area that they have attacked a lot. If you could get this guy signed, you have a chance to have one of the ultimate steals of the draft. It's a 6'6" lefty, plus fastball, plus slider, makings of a good change, throws everything for strikes, has good feel for pitching, a ton of projection left, but he's already said he's going to Tennessee. So, it's possible the Mariners have so much under slot that you can offer this guy a heaping amount of money and hope you get him in your system. It's almost assuredly not going to happen. And that's okay. That's okay. I like that they took a risk this late. With 20 rounds, you don't usually see a ton of risks taken, but it's worth it. It's worth it. You'll probably get one of the two signed, and I would guess it was Stieg. So my overall thoughts on this draft class, I like it. And I'm not surprised I like it. I think the Seattle Mariners are a really good drafting team. You see their farm system. You see already some of the guys from these drafts who have come up and helped an awful lot. Awful lot's an understatement. Look at what Logan Gilbert has done. Look at what George Kirby has done. Look at it, the limited sample of what Cole Young has a chance to be. They're a good drafting team. Harry Ford has a chance to be a really good one. They're good at this. If I had a complaint about this draft, it's lacking a little bit of upside. Even the high school shortstop that they take, Nick Becker, I'm more excited about the floor than the ceiling there. And I don't think any of the picks are bad. All of them are great value picks. It's just lacking a little bit of star potential. Cade Anderson might be the exception to that, right? Like, he has a chance to be a star pitcher, but you did pass on a couple of bats that I think could be a little better. Now, better's the wrong term for it. Have a little more upside, because let's be honest, a Ethan Holiday, if he maxes out, is more valuable than a Cade Anderson if he maxes out. That's just the nature of how things work. There's a much better chance that Cade Anderson reaches his floor than Ethan Holiday does. But, it's just something, if I was going to nitpick, I would have liked a tiny bit more upside. If you sign Appenzeller, great. If you don't, it's lacking a little. If you were going to ask me to letter grade it, I'd go B+. I would go with a solid B+. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. Thanks for watching. It's great to get to do videos on back-to-back days on Mile Y again. Really appreciate the support. Back at more with more stuff soon. Back with more stuff for subscribers in particular. We're going to do my top 15 list, which I haven't updated in a while. But now we have a draft, there's a really good reason to.